The smoke was thick and black. It covered everything like a dark blanket. Park Do-yoon walked through the ruins of what used to be Outpost Kira 7. His boots crushed broken glass and twisted metal with every step. The battle had ended 2 hours ago, but the fire still burned. Do-yoon was tired. 7 years of war did that to a man. 7 years of fighting the Valari, the tall, silver-skinned aliens who came from the dark edges of the galaxy. Nobody remembered why the war started anymore. It just was. Humans killed Valari. Valari killed humans. That was how things worked. His squad moved through the destruction, checking for survivors. There were none. There never were after a Valari attack. They were thorough, the Valari. They did not leave enemies alive. Sergeant Yoon Taeson walked beside him, rifle ready. He was a hard man with cold eyes. The war had made him that way. It made everyone that way, eventually. Nothing here, Taeson said. Just bodies and ash. Let us move on. Do-hyun nodded, but something made him stop. A sound, so small he almost missed it. A cry, like a wounded animal. But different, higher, more afraid. Did you hear that? He asked. Taeson frowned. Hear what? There it was again, coming from beneath a collapsed wall. Do-hyun moved toward it, pulling away broken pieces of metal and stone. His hands got cut, but he did not care. Something was alive under there. Something needed help. What he found made him freeze. It was a child. A Valari child. She was small, maybe the size of a human 4-year-old. Her skin was silver like all Valari, but covered in ash and dirt. She had 4 eyes, all of them violet purple, and they were wide with terror. Along her arms and neck, the bioluminescent markings that all Valari had were pulsing weakly, like a dying heartbeat. She looked up at Do-hyun and made that sound again. That small, frightened cry. Behind him. Taeson raised his rifle. Step away, Lieutenant, the sergeant said. His voice was flat, empty. I will handle this. Do-hyun did not step away. He stared at the child. She was shaking. Tears, or something like tears, ran down her silver face. She was just a baby. A baby left alone in the ruins while bombs fell around her. She is the enemy, Taeson said. Even the young ones grow up to kill us. You know this. Do-hyun knew. He had seen what adult Valari could do. He had watched them tear through human soldiers like paper. He had buried friends because of them, but this was not an adult. This was a child. She is a baby, Do-hyun said quietly. She is Valari. She is a baby. Do-hyun bent down slowly. The child flinched back, pressing herself against the rubble. He held out his hand, palm up, showing he meant no harm. She stared at him with those 4 purple eyes, confused and scared. It is okay, he said softly. I will not hurt you. Lieutenant, Taeson warned. Do not do this. Do-hyun ignored him. He reached out carefully and touched the child's arm. She was cold. So cold. How long had she been lying here? Hours? A whole day? Very slowly, he picked her up. She weighed almost nothing. Her small body fit easily in his arms. She stopped crying and just stared at him, like she could not understand why he was not killing her. What are you doing? Taeson demanded. Taking her with us. That is against every rule we have. Command will never allow it. Then command can punish me. Do-hyun walked past his sergeant, carrying the enemy child in his arms. She grabbed onto his jacket with tiny silver fingers and held on tight. She was still shaking, but the crying had stopped. The other soldiers stared. Some looked angry. Some looked confused. One young private actually stepped forward, like he might try to stop Do-hyun, but something in the lieutenant's eyes made him move aside. They called for extraction. The shuttle came 30 minutes later. Do-hyun sat in the corner, the child still in his arms. She had fallen asleep, exhausted from fear and cold. Even in sleep, she held on to him. Tae-sun sat across from him, shaking his head. "They will court-martial you for this," the sergeant said. "Maybe. Why? Why risk everything for an enemy?" Do-hyun looked down at the sleeping child. Her violet markings had started pulsing stronger now, a steady rhythm like a healthy heartbeat. Color was returning to her silver skin. "Because someone had to," he said. "Because if we cannot show mercy to a child, what are we even fighting for?" Tae-sun had no answer to that. The military tribunal did not court-martial Do-hyun. They wanted to, but the story had leaked. News spread about the human soldier who saved an enemy child. Some people called him a hero. Others called him a traitor. The military decided it was easier to just make him disappear. They sent him to a remote listening station on a moon at the edge of human space. A quiet exile. A punishment without the paperwork. He was told to monitor signals and stay out of sight. They let him keep the girl. Do-hyun named her Bora. It meant purple in his grandmother's old language. Purple for her eyes, which watched everything with growing curiosity as the months passed. She learned to walk properly. She learned to eat human food, though she made faces at some of it. She learned human words slowly at first, then faster and faster. One day, about a year after he found her, she looked up at him and said her first full sentence. "Appa," she said. "Father." "Appa." "I am hungry." Do-hyun's heart broke and healed at the same time. He picked her up and held her close. "Okay, Bora," he said. "Let us find you something to eat." For 3 years, they lived alone on that quiet moon. Just a human and a Valari child, learning to be a family. Do-hyun taught her songs and stories. He taught her to read. He taught her that not all humans were enemies, and not all Valari were monsters. She called him Ape every single day. And every single day, he was grateful he had not walked away from that pile of rubble. He did not know that far away, across the stars, someone was looking for the child he had saved, and she was coming. High Commander Seo-ha was the most feared name in the Valari Empire. She had led the 3rd Fleet for 15 cycles, and in that time, she had never lost a battle. Human admirals spoke her name in whispers. Human colonies prayed she would never come to their skies. She was tall, even for a Valari. 7 feet of silver muscle and sharp edges. Her 4 violet eyes had watched 17 human worlds burn. Her claws had torn through enemy ships. She was war itself, given form and purpose. But today, Seo felt something she had not felt in years. Hope. 3 cycles ago, her daughter had died. That was what they told her. The child was lost in a bombardment, killed when human forces struck back at Outpost Kira 7. Seo had mourned. She had raged. She had burned 3 human colonies in revenge, 1 for each cycle of grief. Then her spies brought new information. The child was alive. A human soldier had taken her. He was raising her on some forgotten moon at the edge of human space. Seo did not bring her fleet. She did not bring her warriors. For the first time in her long military career, she flew alone. 1 shuttle. 1 white flag. The color of peace that Valari never used. Until now. The moon was small and gray. The listening station was even smaller. As her shuttle landed, Seo saw a human standing outside the main building. He was not tall. He was not armed. He just stood there, waiting, like he had known she was coming. Behind him, half hidden in the doorway, was a small silver figure with violet eyes. Seo's heart stopped. She walked down from her shuttle slowly. Each step felt heavy. The human watched her come closer. He did not run. He did not beg. He just watched with calm brown eyes. "You are the one," Seo said. Her voice was rough, like broken stones. You are the human who took my offspring. I saved your offspring, the human replied. His voice was steady. Your own forces left her to die. I found her in the rubble, cold and alone. I carried her out. I was told she died in the attack. Your information was wrong. Siowa looked past him at the child, at her daughter. Bora was peeking around the human's leg, her 4 eyes wide. She had grown so much. She was healthy. Her bioluminescent markings glowed strong and bright. She looks well, Siowa said quietly. She is well. She is happy. Happy. The word felt strange in Siowa's mouth. Valari did not think much about happiness. They thought about duty, honor, victory. But looking at her daughter, at the way the child held on to the human's hand, Siowa understood something new. I mourned her, Siowa said. For 3 cycles, I believe my blood was dead. I burned worlds for her. I killed thousands. That does not bring back the dead, the human said. It only makes more. Siowa's claws twitched. No one spoke to her this way. No one dared. But this small, soft creature stood before her without fear, protecting her own child from her dot. It was almost amusing. Almost. What is your name, human? Park Doyan. Park Doyan. She tasted the strange sounds. Do you know who I am? High Commander Siowa. The burning star, terror of the frontier. He said it flatly, like reading a list. I know exactly who you are, and yet you do not run. Would running help? No, then I will not run. Siowa studied him. This human was strange. He should be shaking. He should be begging for his life. Instead, he stood like a wall between her and Bora, ready to die if necessary. In Valari culture, there was a word for what he had done. Veltara, the sacred debt. When someone saved your bloodline, when someone protected your child, they became bound to you forever. It was the oldest law, older than the empire itself. This human had committed Velthara. He did not know it, but it did not matter. The act was the act. The bond was the bond. By the ancient laws of my people, Siowa said slowly, you belong to me now. Doheen blinked. Excuse me? You saved my bloodline. You raised my daughter when I could not. This creates obligation beyond measure. You have given me the greatest gift any Valari can receive. I must repay it with everything I am. I do not want repayment. I just want to keep raising Bora. Bora? It means purple. For her eyes. Siowa's expression shifted. Something almost soft crossed her face. You named her. Someone had to. The child, this Bora, tugged on Doheen's hand. Appa, she said in a small voice. Who is the tall lady? Siowa felt her heart's crack. Appa, the human word for father. Her daughter called this man father. This is someone who has been looking for you for a long time, Doheen said carefully. He knelt down beside Bora. She is your birth mother. Bora looked at Siowa with curious, cautious eyes. My mother? Yes, but you are my Appa. I am. I always will be. Bora thought about this for a moment. Then she looked back at Siowa. Are you going to hurt my Appa? The question hit Siowa harder than any weapon ever had. Her own daughter, her own blood, was afraid of her. Was ready to defend this human against her. No, Siowa heard herself say. I am not going to hurt him. He saved you. He is sacred to us now. Sacred? It means important. Very important. Bora nodded slowly, like this made sense to her child mind. Appa is very important. He makes good breakfast and sings funny songs. Siowa did not know what to do with this information. She had conquered worlds. She had commanded thousands. but she had no idea how to respond to a child talking about breakfast and funny songs. "We should go inside," Do-hyun said. "You came a long way. We can talk there." He turned and walked toward the station, Bora's hand in his. After a moment, Seol followed. The most feared commander in the Valari Empire, following a human cook who sang funny songs. The universe had a strange sense of humor. Inside, the station was small but warm. There were drawings on the walls, clearly made by a child. Pictures of stars and ships and two figures holding hands, one tall silver shape and one smaller brown shape. Do-hyun and Bora. Seol looked at those drawings for a long time. "She loves you," she said finally. "I love her too. You are just a human. She is Valari." Do-hyun shrugged. Children do not care about such things. They just care about who shows up. Who holds them when they are scared? Who feeds them when they are hungry? He looked at Seol directly. "I showed up." "Where were you?" The words cut deep. Because he was right. Seol had been fighting a war. She had been burning worlds and killing enemies. She had not been there when her daughter needed her. This human had been there instead. "I cannot take her from you," Seol admitted. "It would destroy her, and it would violate the sacred debt." "Then what do you want?" Seol made a decision. The biggest decision of her life. "I want you to come with me," she said. "Both of you. To my ship, to my world. You will raise her still, but I will be there. I will learn to be her mother again." She paused. "And you will help me." "Help you?" "You know her. You understand her. You have what I do not." Seol's voice dropped. "You have her love. Teach me how to earn it." Do-hyun was quiet for a long moment. Then he looked at Bora, who was watching them both with wide violet eyes. "What do you think, Bora?" he asked. "Do you want to see where your mother lives?" Bora considered this carefully. "Will you come too, Appa?" "Yes, then okay." And just like that, everything changed. The Valari flagship was called the Eternal Violet. It was massive. A city floating in space. Thousands of Valari lived and worked inside its metal walls. When Do-hyun first saw it through the shuttle window, he felt very small. Bora pressed her face against the glass, her 4 eyes wide with wonder. "It is so big, Appa." "Yes," Do-hyun agreed. "Very big." Seol sat across from them, watching. She had barely spoken during the journey. She just watched Do-hyun and Bora together, studying them like a puzzle she could not solve. The shuttle docked. The doors opened, and Park Do-hyun, a simple human soldier from a forgotten moon, stepped onto the most powerful warship in the Valari Empire. Everyone stared. He was the only human on a ship of thousands. His brown skin looked strange among all the silver bodies. His 2 eyes looked wrong among their 4. He was shorter than all of them, softer than all of them, weaker than all of them. But Seol walked beside him, and no one dared say a word. "These are your quarters," Seol said, stopping at a large door. "Next to mine. You will have everything you need." The room inside was huge. Bigger than the entire listening station where he had lived for 3 years. There were windows that looked out at the stars. There was a bed that could fit 5 humans. There was a smaller room attached, clearly meant for Bora. "This is too much," Do-hyun said. "It is appropriate for your station." "What station?" "I am a prisoner." Seol turned to face him fully. Her violet eyes were hard to read, but something in them looked almost offended. "You are not a prisoner," she said firmly. "You are Veltharan, the sacred guardian of my heir. In my culture, there is no higher honor. I did not ask for honor. You earned it anyway." She stepped closer. She was so tall that Do-hyun had to look up to meet her eyes. "You saved my daughter." You raised her with love. You gave her a name and a home. Among my people, this makes you family. Family does not kidnap each other. I did not kidnap you. I claimed you. There's a difference. Do-hyun was about to argue, but Bora tugged on his sleeve. She was looking around the room with excitement, bouncing on her small feet. Appa, look. There are stars outside the window. Can we watch them? His anger faded. It was hard to stay angry when Bora was happy. Yes, he said softly. We can watch the stars. Seo observed this small moment. The way his whole body relaxed when Bora spoke. The way he bent down to her level to answer. The way he put her needs before his own complaints. This was why he was special. This was why the sacred debt existed. The days that followed were strange for everyone. Do-hyun was introduced to Seolwa's court as Volfaran. The officers did not know what to make of him. Some sneered behind his back. A human given such an important title? It was absurd. It was insulting, but Seolwa made her position clear. Anyone who disrespected Do-hyun would face her personally. After she broke the arm of a captain who called Do-hyun a human pet, the whispers stopped. You did not need to do that, Do-hyun told her that evening. Yes, yes, I did. Violence does not solve everything. It solves many things. Seolwa tilted her head. You are strange, human. You have every reason to hate my people. We have killed so many of yours. Yet, you do not hate. Do-hyun was quiet for a moment. They were sitting in a common area, watching Bora play with holographic toys. The child was laughing, making the colorful shapes dance through the air. I used to hate, he admitted. When the war started, when I lost friends, I hated so much I could not sleep. Every Villari I saw was a monster. Every battle was personal. What changed? I found her. He nodded toward Bora. She was just a baby, crying in the rubble. She did not look like a monster. She looked like what she was. A child. Scared and alone. And that was enough? One child erased years of hatred? Not erased. Changed. Do-hyun turned to look at Seolwa. I realized that your people were not all monsters, just like my people were not all heroes. We were all just people, trying to survive, trying to protect what we love. Seolwa considered his words. In her entire life, no one had ever spoken to her this way. Her officers gave her reports. Her enemies gave her screams. But honest conversation? Philosophical thoughts about the nature of hatred and love. This was new. You confuse me, she said finally. Good. You confuse me too. A small smile crossed his face. The first smile he had shown her. It changed his whole appearance, making him look younger, softer. Seolwa felt something strange in her chest. She ignored it. Weeks passed. Then months. Slowly, very slowly, things began to change. Seolwa started spending more time with Bora. At first, the child was shy around her. She hid behind Do-hyun, peeking out at her birth mother with cautious eyes. But Do-hyun encouraged her gently. Your mother wants to know you, he told Bora. Give her a chance. But she is scary. Sometimes scary people just need someone to see past the scary parts. So Bora tried. She let Seolwa read her stories at night. She let Seolwa brush her hair in the mornings. She showed Seolwa her drawings, explained each one with serious 4-year-old intensity. Seolwa listened to everything. She saved every drawing. She memorized every story. She is warming up to you, Do-hyun observed one evening. It is slow. Children are slow. They need time to trust. How did you earn her trust so quickly? Do-hyun shrugged. I was there. Every day, I was there. I did not leave her. I did not put war before her. I just showed up. The words hit Seolwa hard. because that was exactly what she had failed to do. She had put war first, duty first, empire first. And her daughter had grown up calling a human man Appa instead of calling her anything at all. "I want to be better," Siowa said quietly. It was not easy for her to admit weakness. She never admitted weakness. But somehow, with this strange human, the words came out. "Then be better," Doyen said simply. "It is not complicated. Just choose her. Every day. Choose her. Is that what you did?" "Yes. Even though she was your enemy?" "She was never my enemy. She was just a child who needed someone." Siowa looked at him for a long moment. This small, soft human who had done what she could not. Who had loved without condition. Who had chosen a Valari child over his own people, his own safety, his own future. "You are remarkable," she said. Do-Hyun looked surprised. "I am ordinary." "No, you are not." Siowa stood and walked toward the window. Stars stretched out before them, endless and cold. "My people believe that strength comes from power, from conquest, from dominance. And what do you believe?" She turned back to face him. "I am beginning to believe that strength comes from something else entirely." "What?" "From choices. From choosing love when hate is easier. From choosing mercy when revenge is sweeter." She paused. "You chose differently than anyone else would have. That is strength." Dayan did not know what to say. He had never thought of himself as strong. He was just a man who could not leave a crying child behind. But maybe that was the point. Maybe the greatest strength was the simplest kind. The strength to care when caring was hard. The strength to love when love was dangerous. He looked at Bora, who had fallen asleep on the floor, surrounded by holographic toys. Then he looked at Siowa, the warrior queen who was learning to be a mother. Maybe, somehow, they could make this work. Maybe family did not have to look the way everyone expected. Maybe it could look like this instead. 6 months on the Eternal Violet changed Doyen in ways he never expected. He learned to speak Valari, though his accent made the officers laugh. He learned their customs, their complicated rules of honor, their ancient history. He learned how to bow correctly and when to stay silent. But mostly, he learned about Seoly. She was not what he expected. Yes, she was fierce. Yes, she had killed thousands. But she was also tired. The war had worn her down, just like it had worn down everyone else. She fought because that was all she knew. She conquered because stopping felt like weakness. "Do you ever want peace?" Do-Hyun asked her one night. They were sitting in her private quarters, sharing a meal. This had become routine somehow. After Bora went to sleep, they would talk for hours about everything and nothing. Peace? Seol's violet eyes narrowed. Peace is for the weak. Peace is for the living. The dead do not care about peace or war. A human philosophy. A true philosophy. Seol was quiet. She looked out at the stars, her face unreadable. "When I was young, before the war, I had dreams. I wanted to explore, to see new worlds, to discover, not destroy. What happened? Duty happened. My family was military for generations. I was trained to fight before I could walk. By the time I had a choice, I had already forgotten how to want anything else. You still have a choice. Do I?" She turned to look at him. "I am High Commander. Millions follow my orders. The Empire expects me to win, to conquer, to burn. And what do you expect of yourself?" The question made her pause. No one ever asked her that. Not her officers. Not her superiors. Not anyone. They told her what to do, and she did it. That was how it had always been. "I expect myself to protect what matters," she said finally. "Then protect Bora. Protect the future she could have. A future without war. You make it sound simple. It is simple. It is just not easy. Seoul almost smiled. Almost. You had a way with words, human. I had a lot of time alone to practice. They sat in comfortable silence. Outside, the stars moved slowly past. Somewhere on the ship, their daughter was sleeping peacefully. Their daughter. Do-hyun still found it strange to think that way. But it was true. Bora was theirs now. His and Seoul's. Two parents from different worlds, different species, different sides of a terrible war. Yet here they were. The peace did not last. A human diplomat arrived 3 weeks later. He came with guards and official papers and a look of barely hidden fear. His name was Han Yemen, and he had been sent to negotiate. Lieutenant Park, he said, bowing stiffly. The United Earth government has secured your release. You can come home. Do-hyun stared at him. Home. He had not thought about Earth in months. The listening station felt like a lifetime ago. The life before Bora felt like a dream. What are the terms? He asked. It is part of a larger treaty discussion. A minor concession from the Valari. They will release you to human custody. You will be debriefed and returned to civilian life. And Bora? Yemen shifted uncomfortably. The child was not part of the agreement. The Valari will not release her. Then I am not going. Excuse me? I said I'm not going. Do-hyun stood firm. Bora is my daughter. I will not leave her. She is Valari. She is not your daughter. She is just an alien child you found. She is my daughter. The diplomat looked frustrated. Lieutenant, you are being offered freedom. A chance to return to your people, your planet, your life. Why would you refuse? Because my life is here now. Yemen opened his mouth to argue, but a tall shadow fell over him. Seoul had entered the room, her presence filling every corner. The diplomat went pale. The human has made his choice, Seoul said coldly. He stays. Leave my ship. High Commander, the treaty. The treaty does not include forcing unwilling people from their homes. Park Do-hyun does not wish to leave. This discussion is over. Yemen looked between them, clearly confused. A human refusing freedom to stay with the enemy? A Valari commander defending that human? None of this made sense to him. The government will have questions, he managed. They can ask their questions to the stars. Now leave. The diplomat left. He practically ran. When they were alone, Seoul turned to Do-hyun. Her expression was strange. Not quite soft, but not as hard as usual. You would abandon your people, she said. For her. I already did. 3 years ago, when I picked her up from that rubble. Do-hyun met her eyes. I told you before. She's my daughter. Nothing changes that. Not governments. Not treaties. Not species. Seoul stepped closer. Her 4 violet eyes searched his face, looking for something. And what am I to you? She asked quietly. The question caught him off guard. What was she? 6 months ago, she had been a name to fear. A monster in the dark. Now, you are her mother, he said carefully. You are someone I am learning to understand. You are... He struggled for words. You are important. Important? Yes. Seoul made a sound that might have been a laugh. Humans are so cautious with words. Valari are so demanding of them. She reached out and touched his face. Her silver fingers were cool against his skin. It was the first time she had touched him like this. Gently. Carefully. Like he was something precious. Stay, she said. Not as Veltheron. Not as sacred guardian. Stay as something more. What do you mean? Among my people, there is a bond called Velshon. It is partnership. Equality. 2 becoming one family. Her voice was low. I am asking you to be my Velshon, Park Do-hyun. I am asking you to stand beside me, not behind me. Dahyun's heart was beating very fast. You are asking me to marry you. I am asking you to be mine, and to let me be yours. We are from different worlds, different species. We were enemies. We are not anymore. Her eyes held his. You taught me something these past months. You taught me that family is not about blood or species, or where you come from. It is about choosing someone. Every day, choosing them. She knelt before him, the mighty High Commander on her knees before a human. I choose you, she said. Now, I am asking if you will choose me. Dahyun thought about everything that had led to this moment. The battlefield, the crying child, the lonely years, the quiet station, the massive ship, the strange queen who was learning to love. He thought about Bora, sleeping peacefully in the next room. He thought about home. Maybe home was not a place. Maybe it was people. Maybe it was a little girl with purple eyes and a warrior queen with silver skin. Maybe home was right here. Yes, he said. I choose you. Seol's face changed. For the first time since he met her, she truly smiled. It transformed her completely. She was beautiful. Then we will build something new together, she said. Something better than war. Something worth protecting. What about the Empire? What about the fighting? The fighting will end. Her voice was firm. I will make it end. For her. For you. For all of us. She stood and took his hand. Come, she said. We have much work to do. The ceremony of Velshan was broadcast across both civilizations. A human and a Velari, bound together in the oldest rite of partnership. People watched in shock. Some were angry. Some were fascinated. Some did not know what to feel. On the Eternal Violet, in the Great Hall, where commanders had planned invasions for centuries, Park Do-hyun stood beside High Commander Seolwa. They wore matching robes of deep purple, the color of Bora's eyes. Between them stood their daughter, holding both their hands. The priest spoke ancient words. Seolwa spoke her vows in Velari. Do-hyun spoke his in Korean, then again in Velari that he had practiced for weeks. His accent was still terrible. No one laughed. When it was done, the hall erupted in sound. Not applause exactly, but something close. A rumbling acknowledgement from hundreds of Velari throats. Bora tugged on Do-hyun's robe. Appa, she whispered loudly. Does this mean I have two parents now? For real? He bent down and picked her up. Yes, Bora, for real. Good. She nodded with serious satisfaction. I was getting tired of explaining. The war did not end overnight. Nothing so broken could heal so fast. But it began to change. Seolwa pushed for negotiations. For years, the Velari High Council had refused any peace talks. Humans were enemies. Enemies did not deserve words, only weapons. That was the old thinking. Seolwa brought new thinking. We have fought for 20 years, she told the council. We have lost millions. They have lost millions. And for what? Planets neither side can hold? Resources neither side can use? Pride? We are winning, one counselor argued. We are dying. Slowly, but surely, we are dying. And so are they. In another 20 years, there will be nothing left to win. What do you propose? Talk, listen, find another way. The council did not agree at first, but Seolwa was persuasive. She was also terrifying. Few wanted to argue with the burning star. Do-hyun helped. He became the liaison between Velari and human diplomats. He was the only human the Velari would trust, and slowly he became someone the humans could trust too. He sat in meetings that lasted days. He translated words and intentions. He smoothed over misunderstandings before they became weapons. It was exhausting. But it was working. The first ceasefire came 2 years after the wedding. Just a pause. A chance to breathe. Then came small agreements. Trade routes. Prisoner exchanges. Medical cooperation. Then came real treaties. Real peace. Not perfect, but better than war. 10 years after Do-yoon found a crying child in the rubble, the war officially ended. The news spread across both civilizations. People celebrated in the streets. Soldiers came home. Families reunited. After so long, the killing finally stopped. A human journalist named Kang Nari traveled to the Eternal Violet to interview the man at the center of it all. She was nervous. She had never met a Valari before, and now she was surrounded by them. But they were not what she expected. They nodded at her politely. Some even tried to smile, though their mouths were not designed for it. Do-hyun met her in his quarters. He was older now, gray touching his hair, but his eyes were still kind. Still calm. Behind him, Bora was arguing with her mother about combat training schedules. The teenager had grown tall and strong, her silver skin gleaming, her violet eyes sharp. She looked like Seolwa, but moved like Do-hyun, all gentle confidence. "Do you regret it?" Nari asked. "Being claimed? Leaving humanity behind?" Do-hyun considered the question carefully. He watched Bora throw her hands up in frustration while Seolwa's rumbling laugh filled the room. "I did not leave humanity behind," he said. "I brought it with me. Compassion. Stubbornness. The inability to leave a child crying in the rubble." He smiled. The Valari thought they were claiming a human. They did not realize that humans have a way of claiming back. "What do you mean?" "Look around you. Look at what we have built. Look at the peace we have made." He gestured at the ship, at the crew, at his family. "They claimed me, but I changed them. That is what humans do." Nari tilted her head. "Change them how?" "When I first came here, the Valari believed strength meant conquest. Power meant dominance. Family meant blood." Do-hyun leaned back. "Now look at them. They've learned that strength can be mercy. Power can be choice. Family can be this." He pointed at Bora, who had finally won her argument with Seolwa and was doing a victory dance. The fearsome high commander watched her daughter with open affection, violet eyes soft. "She is happy," Do-hyun said simply. "They are both happy, and they make me happy. Everything else is just details." Nari wrote furiously in her notebook. This was not the story she expected. She expected trauma, tragedy, a prisoner's tale. Instead, she found a love story. "One more question," she said. "What would you say to other humans? To people who still hate the Valari? Who lost family in the war?" Do-hyun was quiet for a long moment. "I would say that hate is easy. Anyone can hate. It takes no courage, no strength, no effort. You just close your heart and let the anger grow." He met her eyes. "But love is hard. Love means seeing the person, not the enemy. Love means choosing mercy when revenge would feel better. Love means believing that people can change. And can they? Change? Yes, I have seen it." He looked at Seolwa, who was now letting Bora braid her hair, despite clearly having no idea how human hairstyles worked. "I have lived it." The interview ended. The article published. It spread across human space like fire. The man who loved the enemy. The human they claimed. The father of peace. People called him many things. Some still called him traitor. But more and more, they called him hero. Do-hyun did not care about titles. He cared about his family. About the wife who still scared diplomats but could not say no to their daughter. About the daughter who carried 2 worlds in her heart. About the quiet moments between battles, between negotiations, between histories. One night, years later, Do-hyun stood at the window of his quarters and looked out at the stars. Iowa came to stand beside him. She was older too now, silver hair mixed with white, but her presence was still strong, still commanding. "What are you thinking?" she asked. "I am thinking about rubble," he said. "About a crying child. About choices. Do you ever wish you had chosen differently?" He turned to look at her, this strange alien queen who had become his partner, his equal, his own. "Never," he said. "Not once." She made that almost smile that he had learned to love. Good. They stood together in comfortable silence. Somewhere on the ship, their daughter was laughing with friends. Somewhere across the galaxy, humans and Valari were learning to live side by side. It was not perfect. Nothing ever was. But it was good. "We survived," Dohyun said softly. "We did more than survive," Siowa replied. "We adapted. We loved things we probably should not have. We made enemies into family. That sounds human. That sounds like us." He took her hands, silver against brown. Two different beings from two different worlds, but one family, one home, one future, built together from the ashes of war. That was the power of humanity. Not weapons, not technology, not conquest. Just the stubborn, foolish, beautiful ability to love what was different. To choose compassion when it cost everything. To turn enemies into family. Humanity. That was the real victory. And it had started with one man, one choice, and one crying child in the rubble.